So the mighty West Tigers roared back into the winner's circle last week with an emphatic victory over the Broncos. Now it's time to exact revenge on the Newcastle Knights and continue their climb up the premiership ladder. So if you can't make it to Campbelltown Stadium, come on down to the home of the West Tigers, West Ashfield, this Sunday, 7th of August, 4:05 p.m. is kickoff to watch that round 21 fixture. West Ashfield offers great dining options. Choose from the Garden Bistro or walk on for some mouth-watering Asian cuisine. And for more information, visit West Ashfield's website, westashfield.com.au, or follow them on Facebook or Instagram at West Ashfield. And if you don't know, West Ashfield is the home of West Tigers. They are at 115 Liverpool Road, Ashfield. And welcome into another episode of the WestsLife podcast. I'm your host, Josh Barnett. We are sponsored by West Ashfield Leagues, the best place to watch the game live and loud. And you can do that on Sunday afternoon if you're not heading out to Campbelltown. And, of course, MG Pump Solutions, owned by the big Shano. And if you have a spare minute, head over to our socials at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Give us a follow. Saw Gussie in the comments about an hour ago promoting our Patreon for us. Oh, good on you, Gussie. I need to give you commission. Patreon.com/WestsLife. A couple of bucks to support the show and join the Discord, which is absolutely pumping this week. They help me find content for tonight's show. So that they're paying me and doing part of my job. So thanks to the guys in the Discord. And if you're on the YouTubes, give us a subscribe, notifications. Yeah, we'd really like to pump the YouTube channel, get that up as well. Righto, boys, on a Thursday night, previewing the game on Sunday. I'll go as. How are you feeling heading into Sunday? What should be 3 wins in a row, possibly?
I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be good to get back home, back to Campbelltown. Our last game there for the season. Like Jacko and AD have both said on the socials during the week, hopefully we get a good crowd there supporting the boys.
Yep.
Finish the season as strong as we can and on to bigger and better things next year, hopefully.
My seats are going to be empty. Unfortunately, I'm assuming my wife gave it to me because she had it first. It has to be her fault. I've contracted the spicy cough this week, making my debut with this COVID thing. It's rocked both of us a bit this week, and unfortunately, because I got it on Tuesday, that means I'm locked down for the whole weekend. I'm so annoyed. It's the worst timing I could have got it. Like I was hoping we're all going to get it eventually, and I was hoping at least to be like A, not miss a Tigers game, B, some NBA or NFL to watch if I'm at home. There's like literally nothing going on like at the moment. It's literally boring being stuck in home inside as well. But so if you hear me coughing tonight, I'll try and mute the microphone. There's a bit of a dry cough that I'll try and hide as best I can. One man that's looking fit as a fiddle though, Rob Bashara. How are you feeling heading into this game?
Yeah, looking forward to heading out to Campbelltown, Josh. Should be a good game. A little bit disappointed, obviously, that Jacko won't be there, and seems like we haven't named a ball playing lock. So I think it's going to be a lot closer than people are expecting. The Knights forward pack stacks up pretty well, and so I think I hope the crowd will get out there and support the boys and cheer us home to victory.
And did you just see Joffa came out in the week? He said Benji told him he's on a ball playing lock, and he goes, it hurt him a little bit, but it's true.
Well, I just saw that tonight. We've had Jacko as a ball-playing lock, and now we haven't named a ball-playing lock. So I don't know if that's just a bit of a smoke screen to who might be starting there, but seems like we're not playing a ball-playing lock this week. So I think that just gives us a little bit less attack, and, our halves will have a bit more focus on them. So, don't think there's going to be too many tries in the game, but hopefully we get the win.
Speaking of which, Matthew on the Facebook, welcome to everyone joining on the live streams on the Facebook and the YouTube as well. He said, just wondering what time Rob will be dropping his same game multi for this weekend's game. Robstradamus will, that is a mouthful as you said off the air. He will make his appearance last segment of the show. So you're gonna stick through the whole show. Sorry, Matty, but yeah, he will. Yeah, it was a huge one. I know you got a couple of DMs, Rob, from a couple of people saying thanks for the money that you made them.
Yeah, I've had a few people message, and I just told them it was a bit of a fluke. That's all. So I actually was confident last week, but yeah, not so confident this week. But we'll see how we go.
Righto. So lower grades this weekend. New South Wales Cup and Jersey Flegg are both playing the Panthers at Bluebet Stadium. The Flegg boys are at 11 a.m. And the Cup boys are at 2 p.m. I really should take Jock Madden now, that photo. He's a first grader now. But and of course our women won the grand final, and and we'll celebrate that every single episode of the show. Right, on to the news. A lot of Lee news this week, boys. So obviously a lot going on. Firstly, a quick one. So Lee's not a fan of the NRL loan system, even though we're loaning 2 players to other teams, which is so it's kind of odd. But basically on SEN Radio, he said, "I'm not particularly a fan of this loan system, particularly loans are this late in the season. We have been taken advantage of because the rules do provide for that. While any player is playing for the loaning club is responsible for them. So that club is responsible for the medical and related expenses. What happens if the injury is severe enough to go beyond the loan period? Unfortunately, that's the risk for both parties to take. It's very clunky, this system, and I understand why Peter V'landers is looking into it. I know the deadline has moved back to June 30, I believe now, so it's not August 1, which is just crazy how late in the season. I guess it was COVID was kind of the main reasons last couple of years. But Rob, obviously we've given Noffa to the Storm and what's his name to the Roosters? Oliver Gildart. Thank you. Is it weird that has Lee got a point here? Is it weird that he said taken advantage of, but we still had to agree to it, didn't we?
Yeah, but if you take that comment on face value, it might seem weird, but I'm sure there's many people within other organisations that feel the same way. You can still say that it's not a system that you like, but as a club, we've got to take advantage of that carrot, which is to get pick up some cap space, whether it's 50k, 100k, 200k. So for us, we're not getting a player back, so it actually helps our club. It helps the club that is borrowing the player. So you can still do the right thing by the club and not be a fan of it. If you ask me, I'm happy that we've lent an offer to Melbourne if that's what, if we're going to save some money. But do I like the system? No. So in terms of that, I agree with him. I think you can sort of, I wouldn't call it sitting on the fence. You can just not like the rule, but you still have to play by the rules. So I think what he said there is perfectly fine, to be honest.
As we touched on it the other night, but do you think this could be good for Noffa? Do you think he could come back a better player for us?
I hope he comes back a better player. He needs to come back a more professional player. And I think that's what we're all hoping happens with him down there. Obviously, being in a system like the Storm where they're a lot tougher on their players, they place a high value on accountability and things of that nature. And I think him being in that system might give him a bit of a kick up the backside, which, as we've all seen from his poor off-field form in recent years, that he really needs it, I think.
Lee story number 2. So talking about home grounds tonight. So this whole stadium saga. So if you basically had your head in the sand and haven't heard the news this week, New South Wales Premier Dom Perrottet, who supposedly is a West Tigers fan, but he's taken the funding that was meant to go to suburban stadiums and he's going to give it to the Floods. Lee is basically saying if without Leichhardt getting refurbishments, they'll have to take that into account because they're working out what the ratio of Campbelltown and Leichhardt games will be next year because the contract is up with the company that runs CommBank and Accor Stadium. So Lee said, we have probably denied ourselves a home ground advantage by having so many home grounds. there is a very compelling argument to be made for the West Tigers to return to their traditional home grounds to secure its identity and presence. Enough with being nomads and gypsies. Having 5 home grounds is not feasible or practical. We had factored into our consideration of our stadium policy moving forward that there would be a refurbishment going forward. If Leichhardt is to remain as it is, which I believe is not up to NRL standard, that will factor into the board's thinking on a new stadium policy going forward. Rob, I'll go to you first. It almost sounds like they made up their mind and they might change it now because they'll have to start organising booking for home ground. So the fact that he said we had factored into our consideration, yeah, they may have already made up their mind on what home grounds we're playing at next year.
Well, I don't think they haven't decided on the ratio of Campbelltown and Leichhardt games. I listened to his podcast where he had Tim Sheens on it. It was a part 2. It goes for about 35 minutes, and they went into a little bit of detail. What I liked about that is they were talking about, eventually we need our own fortress, and, they'd like to, really push the Southwest Sydney aspect of our club. What he did say was when he first took over as chairman, we'd had 9 home games at 9 different home grounds that year, in the year that he became chairman, which is absolutely insane. And what I was pleased to hear is he understands that it probably costs us a home ground advantage. Could have cost us up to 8 to 10 points per game, and that we do need our own fortress. It sounds to me like we're going to go down the Campbelltown, Liverpool path in terms of a redeveloped ground at some stage. Whether we're going to play 8 or 9 games at Campbelltown as of next year, I'm not sure. Maybe we'll divide it 6 games at Leichhardt, 6 at Campbelltown, and have the Tamworth and the Magic Round and what have you. Or we might start putting more games down at Campbelltown immediately. I don't know, but it seems like there's definitely going to be a Leichhardt presence no matter what. It's just a matter of how many games they have there. But I'm glad to see that he's sort of we've said for 2 years we should have 1 home ground or 2 maximum, and not sort of prostitute it too much. So I'm glad that they're looking down that path. So yeah, I agree with what he said.
Gypsies, prostitutes. It's it's what a fun conversation. Jenny Tiger asked what podcast? It's the Bryden's Lawyers.
It was the Bryden's podcast. If anyone follows me on Twitter, I think I shared it on Monday or Tuesday. So I think it might have been Monday. So just the link will be there. You might want to retweet it or something, Josh. It was actually a really good listen. Really good listen. Sheen's had a lot of good things to say in that, and so did Lee, to be fair.
As you drive from Orange for every single home game, what ratio would you like next year?
I'd like Leichhardt to get more games, but I know that's unlikely to happen for all the various reasons we've talked about. It's my favourite ground. But I do think that the more we get at Campbelltown, the better it will be. Really not a fan of going and watching the boys play at Parra because it just doesn't feel like home. Yeah, we've got a few good wins there in the past, but it just doesn't feel like a home base. And obviously, we're going to continue taking the Tamworth game because it's been really good taking games to the country, and I believe every club eventually is going to have to take at least 1 a year. So we'll have to have that as a home ground. But yeah, if we're going with the ratio, I'd say 7 Campbelltown, 4 Leichhardt, and Tamworth would probably be the ratio I wouldn't mind seeing.
Ben asked on YouTube, without being negative, guessing what the ratio of Tiger fans and Maggies, obviously mean Balmain. Our survey mid-season, we asked this every time, and from memory, 50% of people were like as and didn't go for either. I think it was 30 Balmain and 15 Magpies, but that's just our 200. For the hundreds of thousands of West Tigers fans, how accurate that is, I'm not sure, but that's for listeners to this show. I guess people filling in the form maybe a bit younger because we shared it on Twitter and less elderly people probably came across it and don't know how to fill in a Google sheet. But Yeah, I'm stereotyping a little bit, but it was surprisingly though a lot weren't either. So, and as you just said, you prefer Leichhardt, and that's not coming, not like Shane, Rob, and I who grew up in the previously as Balmain fans. You came in after that. So, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what what the split will be next year. But yeah, my head says Campbelltown deserves more. We've said that plenty of times. Actually, we'll go Lee. We'll make it a Lee fest. I've got rather than a slide, I've stolen / borrowed Channel 9's story from Lee tonight. So let's see if this works.
Rightfully theirs. Why is it so important to you to try and get the result overturned?
Because we earned those 2 points. They are our 2 points. We earned those. We won that match. We're entitled to those 2 points. The Cowboys aren't. It also impacts on the top 4 as well.
CEO Justin Pascoe and Chairman Lee Hadjipantelis pleading their case to league boss Peter V'landys, arguing their loss to the Cowboys 2 weeks ago should be reversed because of the Bunkers blunder.
Those concerns were graciously received and acknowledged by the NRL. There was a robust discussion as to how the game ended. It's been agreed by the parties that there is some element of ambiguity in relation to the rules.
The Tigers are confident overturning results isn't unprecedented.
It's happened in the AFL, it's happened twice in the NSWRL going back 100 years as well, when there have been instances of players who are not registered playing, for example, and the NSWRL has intervened.
So potentially the next step, legal action?
All options remain on the table. Justin and I will take it back to the full board now.
As the
So, Rob, they're still going hard at this, and I ripped that. You told me about this report tonight. I didn't actually see it, so I went and clipped it to show everyone. But yeah, Lee saying all the right things there.
100%, like very firm words, like said with a lot of purpose, and that, like I said, it resonated last week with a win as far as I'm concerned. So not only said the right things, but I believe he means it too. So. We've got to fight for these 2 points and, just set the bar high and just say that, West Tigers aren't going to get stepped on anymore. And he's right. We won that game. And hopefully the NRL will, come to the party a little bit, which I doubt they will. So I think legal action will be the next step. That's probably where it'll be. But if ever there's a precedent that's going to be set, Josh, it should be this one because it literally happened after the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we don't even need to go back to the goal kicks and all that sort of stuff because time should have expired before all that. But I'm really glad the club's sticking to it. It would have looked terrible if they just softened up because we got a win last Saturday night. So, all credit to them. It's I'm not used to agreeing with the club on 3 things in a row. It's a
hat trick. A hat trick of loving leads.
Box trifecta. Box trifecta.
As are you glad to see the Justin and Lee still going hard on this and not letting it go?
Yeah, definitely. I think I said it previously that if we want to make a stand about what the club stands for, and if we want to say that winning starts off the field, then this is probably a good way to set that up. So we've got the powers that be fighting for a win that we rightfully earned, that we had incorrectly stolen from us, or illegally stolen from us, I should say. The fact that they're still fighting for it off the field hopefully instills a lot more fight on the field in the team than what we've seen in previous weeks before these last 2. Obviously, great win against the Cowboys and a spectacular win against the Broncos to back that one up. So,
yep.
Yeah, bring on the next game.
So a little one here, obviously mentioned earlier about Noff and Oliver Gildart going off to separate finals-bound clubs. Just a small thing about Ken Marlowe, who actually turned down the Storm. I did hear someone mentioned in the comments earlier, Adam Dwayne did say he was actually keen to go to the Storm, which I found interesting. But he said that I'm contracted to the West Tigers and whatever says go. So it wasn't like he was pushing for it. But yeah, Kevin Marlowe said they're looking for some players in the moment, but I just said that I've got a family and it's too much of a move for me. Noff is the perfect person to go over because he's got no family, no kids, so it's better for him. I got my cousin who called me from Melbourne, Nelson, obviously Sofa Solomona, and he said that Craig Bellamy mentioned my name to him. He said I should keep it on the back burner and just see where things are at. I said if things go well to plan, then why not? But it was too much of a move. As it's one thing to let a couple of guys playing second grade go, but man, letting Ken go down there would have been huge. We're not playing for anything, but man, we need Ken in our team.
Ken's been offering a lot to us out on the wing in recent weeks. Even the last couple of months, he's running the ball like a forward from those carries. He's dangerous in the air when kicks come his way because he's a lot taller than wingers we've had in the past. Yeah, he's been instrumental in our late season turnaround pretty much since the Eels game when we started to play a bit better. So yeah, good to see him wanting to stick around as well. And yeah, hopefully he has a really strong finish to his season and he comes back next year as well, ready to rip in for what's going to be a very interesting 2023.
Rob, would you have been annoyed if we let Ken go to the Storm?
I've got mixed feelings about it. As Adam said tonight on the news, he was only keen to go there because he said it'd be good to learn from one of the premier organisations and see how they do things. So in one way, I wouldn't have minded they got even better there. But the fact that we're fighting for these 2 points from North Queensland, it would have been a really poor look to let basically our best two players, in the last few weeks go for that sake. So if we're trying to say that every game means something, the players that we've let go, one that was in reserve grade in Oliver Gildart and David Nofaluma, who hasn't been part of first grade for a few weeks. So we've let guys go that aren't part of the 17. So I have got mixed feelings about it, but I'm glad that Adam and Ken are with the team this week. And, I got to take back what I said a few weeks ago, because I basically, from the time Madge left and we lost to Manly the following week, I kind of said these games are meaningless. And the fact that we're protesting these 2 points, I just realise now, like, every game does mean something. Every time you put the West Tigers jersey on, it does mean something and it needs to mean something. And mate, I can't wait for Sunday. I'm so pumped up. Like, I really want to go. And it's just crazy because we're not going to be playing in the finals, but I'm just keen to see the boys now. They've had, 3 or 4 good games out of 5. We had 3 poor games in, Manly, Canterbury and whoever else was in that mix there, New Zealand. But, the guys are coming good and we've got to start building for next year. So yeah. I'm excited for Sunday. So, I am glad they stayed. But had they been loaned, you've just got to look at Harry. Like Harry Grant was loaned to us and he went back to the Storm a better player. So if Adam was to go there for 5 weeks and then play finals footy and then we make finals next year, well, Adam's played in a few more finals other than the ones he's had with South. So I've got mixed feelings about it, but, there was no wrong decision as far as I was concerned. But I am glad, being selfish, I'm glad they stayed.
Couple of comments. Brandon mentioning Adam system would be, it was more risk than reward. Adam's injury taken into consideration. I guess what Lee was referring to earlier. Like, you don't want, he's playing for us or playing for the Storm, he can still get injured. But I guess the West Tigers will be able to take all precautions and that sort of thing, recovery and stuff. And then Matachu, I'm pretty sure Dane Laurie got offered to the Storm as well, and he turned it down, which is
he did, yeah,
a good sign. So, loving Dane Laurie the last few weeks. So Jacko's mum shared the bad news on Twitter. A great follow at Megs Harrod on Twitter. If you want to give Jacko's mum a follow, she gives all updates on Jacko. So he, she said the surgery went well, but the ankle was way worse than expected. But he's more than satisfied with the operation. So, he was out for the season anyway. So I guess it's not really that big a news. Either way, he's hopefully can recover it and be sweet for pre-season training. When that rolls around. Okay, that's the end of the news. So, bit of an announcement. So, in the a lot of people might not know that I'm also, as well as a podcaster by night. I'm also a qualified fitness trainer and run outdoor fitness sessions. And I'm decided to, because I talk a lot of footy with my clients in my sessions, and I thought, why not join them together? And I'm going to create some invites for West Tigers fan. I mean, if you've got a friend that's not a West Tigers fan, bring them along anyway. But I find exercising when you can talk footy makes you a lot more motivated. So we train near ANZ Stadium at Homebush, and it'll be Monday and Thursday nights, 7 p.m. at Kathy Freeman Park, and we'll start literally Mad Monday for the West Tigers, which is September 11. Pretty easy date to remember there. It's arguably the most famous calendar day of the year, but for other reasons, obviously. But if you're interested, podcast at westlife.com or shoot us a DM in the socials. If you're looking to lose weight, I'm not expecting any elite athletes. Maybe even Mr. Bashara can head over for a few sessions, and you can grill him for a bit of West Tigers inside news and that sort of thing with the off season. So we'll be running episodes for the rest of September, but we'll probably take a break after grand final as well. But these sessions are a good way to if you want to come talk Tigers with the off season, and also if you want to lose weight, get fitter, or just keep up, improve your health. So let us know on the socials or podcast at westlife.com. Righto, on to this weekend's game. So
before we get into that, Josh, sorry.
Go as.
I like pulling up all of the social media posts, as you guys know. And after his operation, Jacko had a bit of an update for us as well. Well, not really much of an update, but just a really nice message that I wanted to give a little bit of time to. So he said, just out of surgery, the road to recovery and hard work starts now. As I've said, I still have goals to tick still this year, and we'll be pushing hard to achieve them. I want to thank everyone for the get well wishes. You guys are legends. Get behind the boys at Campbelltown Sunday. And then he replied to himself saying, and just want to say sorry to the supporters who paid their hard-earned cash to support us, especially after a hard year for walking around and signing and taking photos with you post-game, ... LOL, laughing emoji. Appreciate you guys. So he's there for the fans. He's enjoying himself. I think it was Roasted Rugby League or whoever posted a little video on his Instagram story earlier in the week about this one group of young blokes in the stadium at Suncorp who got Jacko to take a photo of them. Group of them. Of the group of them, not with him involved. He was literally the one taking the photo for them. And
he should have put on selfie mode and just snapped himself smiling. Like, seriously.
I find that to be bloody brilliant. Like, he's got a sense of humor about it too, so it's good to see. Hopefully he wears our colours for a few more years to come, at least.
Post game, I also saw Adam Dwayhe signing a Broncos jersey. Like, why would you have an opposition player sign your jersey? I didn't understand that. But a guy, some kid, I think it was like early 20s, had a Broncos jersey and got Adam to sign his sleeve. I'm like, okay, like, fair enough to get him to sign something else, but opposite team, I just found that really weird. Adam kind of laughed it off, which was pretty funny. But right on to the night's game on Sunday afternoon at 4:00. Hopefully the crowd will be a big crowd on Sunday. I'm so annoyed that I'm missing this. The only home game I missed last year was that Panthers win, so maybe it's an omen. We'll have a big win in a home game that I missed. But the back line for us is Dane Laurie at fullback, Brent Naden and Ken Mamalo on the wings, Stafford Toa and Kepa Oa in the centres, Adam Dwayhe and Jock Madden in the halves, so pretty much the same team. For the Newcastle side of things, Tex Hoy at fullback, Tuala and Dominic Young are the wingers. Dane Gagai and Bradman Best is back for the Knights. Anthony Milford and Jake Clifford are their halves. As a bit of continuing, it's been a while since we've carried over. It's the same 7, isn't it? 1 to 7.
Yeah,
we're carrying over this
same
week.
1 to 7.
The boys have got a bit of rhythm. Like the whole year, we're basically through injuries or basically trying different things. It's pretty good to see the back line at least staying the same. The boys can keep the rhythm going.
Yeah, a bit of consistency, find a groove. I can't think of anything negative about that. So the fact that they've had a few games as a back line now moving into this game, which is a game that we should win, by all accounts, it's good to have a bit more of a settled back line. Hopefully it pays dividends.
Rob, how do you like the matchup for us in the backs?
Look, it's like as said, at least we've got the same back line again. I'm not pleased to see Bradman Best back in there. He's a very damaging runner. I think the Knights have the edge in the centres. I think we've got the edge everywhere else. So really, if our centres can D up well, that'll go a long way to winning it. We've definitely got the edge in the halves, although Jacko being the ball playing lock, he takes a little bit of heat off Jock and AD. So I'm a little bit concerned that he's not going to be there because there'll be more focus on our halves and they can kind of direct their attention at our halves a bit more, where Jacko will take a bit of that heat sometimes. So I just think it's look, it's going to be a tough game. It really is going to be a tough game. If Jacko was playing, I'd very much say we'd win 13 plus. But yeah, that back line, other than Ponga not being there and Edric Lee, that's about as good as a back line as they can field at the moment. They're really struggling in the halves.
What do you think about Gagai, Rob? We all know that Origin Gagai is a completely different player to Clubland Gagai, but we always seem to get Origin Gagai, don't we?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I watched him against Canterbury. He wasn't too bad. It's just it's a bit weird, but I don't know. The best way to describe it for me is I feel like a few of the good Newcastle players are trying to do things individually. They've got no sort of scheme or tactics or cohesiveness about them. It's just kind of like the ball's with you, try and do something. Let's just see what you can do, sort of thing. So Gagai needs good ball and like Ponga can hold up defenders. He can stop the defense. He can throw cutouts. He can run through holes. Ponga creates most of that attack. Milford's not the same player he was. Not that he's still not dangerous. But yeah, I just feel like they're just playing like a bunch of individuals. I'm kind of hoping they really hate their coach because they've been playing like they hate their coach. Yeah. So if they really want to get rid of their coach, have a howler this week, boys. But yeah, I'm just a bit disappointed that Jacko's not going to be there because we know how important he was. Like how we went after his suspension earlier in the year. Like we probably would have won a couple of games had he been there. And then we saw the immediate impact he had when he came back. But we do have Adam there now, which is great. But I just think there's going to be too much reliance on Adam to sort of be the man. So, but I still think we'll get it done. But it'll be very tight.
Didn't Nathan Brown? It wasn't his last game coaching the Knights. A Campbelltown loss to us. Do I remember that right?
I can't remember.
I'm pretty
sorry, Josh.
With Nathan Brown's last game coaching the Knights, we smacked them at Campbelltown. I'm pretty sure. It's happened before. Yeah. So
they
history
came
repeating.
to that game, I think, hopefully, with a bit of drama around that situation. We pumped them 42-4 or something along those lines, and he was Ponga played their next game.
Yeah. Ponga was pretty average as well from memory. We smacked him up. But our forward pack,
that was 2019.
2019, yeah, it was definitely pre-COVID. I'm pretty sure the whole world is pre-COVID and post-COVID. We should just start the years again. Just go. It's what are we at? Year 3. It's like the next Jesus. But forward pack: James Tarmow and Joe Offengowie front row, New Brown still at hooker, back row Alex Seyfarth and Kelmut Tuolagi. Now the 13 jersey has been given to Fanua Pole. Do you like this move, giving Fanua? I know a lot of people were shocked at this, but he does play a lot of 13s growing up, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't really know about that. So I'm hoping that we can see a really good, unique, or not really unique, but different side to his game this week. I've seen a lot of people roasting the club for the decision, calling it a Sheen's selection, but you never know. There may actually be something behind the scenes here where they really think he could make a good 13. We haven't seen too much of the ball playing from him yet, so it would be interesting to see if he has that ball playing aspect to his game that a 13 does now. So yeah, it's going to be a wait and see thing, I guess. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. I hope he has an absolute blinder. He's taken to first grade like a fish to water. So I really hope we continue to see him step up and have a good rest of the season.
Regular viewer Kathy on Facebook said that Knights game we're talking about, as it was a Saturday and we sold. Kathy sold orange wigs at that game to raise funds for an association she was involved with. So yeah,
I do remember that. Yeah,
the orange wigs.
Yeah, I remember that whole game.
Yeah.
It was a really good night.
Yeah. Roberto, I'll go through the Knights first. Sorry, Jacob Saifidi and Daniel Saifidi front row. Jaden Brayley hooker. Tyson Frizzell and Brody Jones at second row. And my cousin Mitchell Barnett at lock. No relation. He's obviously a ranger, and I'm not. But Rob, the forward matchup. What are you feeling in this one?
I think it's a pretty even pack. Obviously they're missing David Clemmer, who does a huge amount of work for them, and anyone who plays Supercoach knows his base stats are really good. So glad that David Clemmer's not there. But look, they've still got a really good pack. Our pack's a little bit different this week. No ball playing lock, and we've still got Seyfarth again, who did very well last week with his 50 tackles and all that. But I think it's a pretty even match, to be fair. I'm a little bit worried about our forwards, but I think we've basically named a more defensive team. Whether Pole starts at lock or not, we'll wait and see. Joffa could end up being back at lock, or we might even, who knows, put the debutant in there and start him, and maybe he's been named on the bench just to take a bit of heat off him. But yeah, very surprised we didn't go with a ball player, because it really just takes a lot off our attack this week.
Julia Tiger on YouTube asked, should the Tigers go after Clemmer? I forgot to add this to the news. Sheens came out basically tonight, a Brooks and Clemmer swap. I know a lot of us West Tigers fans were talking about that. I think the money would work out pretty similar. Sheens is just coming out the bat for Luke Brooks non-stop. But would you have liked that move, Rob?
Look, I wouldn't have minded it, but Sheens' answer was, we don't need a prop. If Jock goes the way I think he'll go the next 5 games, I don't think we need a half.
Yeah.
So what do you do? But look, they're backing Brooksy to the hilt. So we can say all we want about Brooks. I think we've just got to get used to the fact he's going to be number 7 for some reason. So I'm really hoping Jock Madden can have 5 more really good games and just change that thought process that they've got there, because his general game was outstanding. Did a couple of great try assists last week, or set up tries. So he's just got to work on his defence a little bit. That's all.
The bench, so on our side, Zane Musgrove, Austin Diaz, Tom Freebarn will make his debut, and Tyrone Peachy Junior Tupou is named at 18th man. On the Knights side, Phoenix Crosland, who grew up, he had the same junior club as me. He's an Aaron Eagles junior. Go the Eagles. Sam Sasagi. I can't. My eyes are shot. I should have made it bigger. Hang on, let me open it. How do you pronounce it? Simi Sasagi, Pasami Salo, and Matt Croker. God, that sounds like a 12-man joke. Those 2 names back to back. I need to take a poo too. As the bench, who's got the stronger bench here?
Based on experience, you'd have to say the Knights do. Crossland has a pretty good utility value for the Knights. Peachy has that value for us. I'm still not sure how the club's going to use him. Maybe he might come on as the starting 13. I feel like as for a ball player, he'd be the better option. Sasangi and Solo aren't bad players for the Knights, but I think Zane Musgrove is a better player than those two are. Obviously, we've got Diaz would be a third gamer now or a fourth gamer, and then we've got Freebarn on debut. So,
do you know much about Freebarn, as?
Not only that he had a really, really strong season for the Maggies last year. I remember it was the game against the Bears at North Sydney Oval that they televised, where they were expected to romp all over us because we had most of our Jersey flag team in there. But we came out and put in an excellent performance and won that game off the back of him in the halves. I think he was a half. I don't actually remember.
Is that when Kelmer had a blinder?
That was the year before, I think, Josh.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, Freebarn.
He got 2 tries that night.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes. I hope he has a great game. And if there's a team to debut against, it's a team that's struggling on the ladder like ourselves. So not a lot of pressure on him. Whatever role he gets given, I think he'll make a good fist of it. But yeah, back to your original question. I feel like the stronger bench is the Knights. But it'll come down to how we use ours, whether or not we can get over them. Obviously, Zane came on late in the first half last weekend and had a bit of a poor start, but got himself together in the second half. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought process there.
So outside, Junior Chippo, as I mentioned before, Jake Simkin, Brendan Tumeth, and Jimmy Roberts and Justin Manamua are all outside the 17. Rob, how are you feeling with the bench? Is there any of those guys that you feel could be or should be a late change into the team, or how are you liking the bench?
Oh, look, as Aaron said, it's a pretty, well, 2 of our guys are very inexperienced. One hasn't had a game and one's had 3 or 4, as Aaron suggested. So, really only got Peachy and Musgrove there. So, a little bit nervous about it, but at the same time, we've got to blood these guys. We've got to get these kids that haven't had many games, getting some first grade experience. But it's definitely not a strong bench. Personally, I would have liked to have seen Peachy start at 13 and just have another big body there. Just for a bit of impetus off the bench. But look, we don't know how they're going to line up. It could be just a bit of, ducks and drakes and might all change by Sunday. Who knows?
Shouts to Derek on the Facebook stream watching in the Philippines. Do you live there or on holidays, mate? That's awesome. Tuning in. The global podcast, the WestsLife podcast. Righto, Robstradamus, time for predictions. Pressure's on after the sensational one last week. We're paying $1.50. This may have changed. I think I did that graphic last night. Let me check that. As I'll go to you first. What are you feeling in this game?
I like our chances. Obviously, when we're favourites, things haven't gone particularly well in the past, but I think this is where we start to turn that around into next year. So I think we've got what it takes to win this one. The Knights are playing awfully so far this year. They honestly, I feel like if it wasn't for their first 2 rounds where they played really well against the Roosters and us, I think they'd be stone motherless last. But they got off to that good start, which has so far kept them away from the spoon. But I think we can beat them this week and send them back down there. I've already got that app open to see what Rob's multi's going to pay for us this week. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. It's good to get back to Campbelltown. Like I said before, and like Jacko and AD have said, fingers crossed we can get a nice big crowd out there to support the boys. You've got it on the graphic there that it's mostly sunny with very minimal chance of rain, so a nice dry track. Should be a really good game of footy. A lot of people are saying it's a battle of the cellar dwellers, but the way we're playing at the moment, with the way we've played the last couple games, even without Jacko, I think we're offering a bit more in attack now. Without Jacko, Jock may have to step up a bit more, but I still think AD is going to steer the ship a lot more from the number 6. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Should be good fun. Then I'm tipping the Tigers by maybe, I don't know, 10 points. I'd say maybe a score line of 24-14, because the Knights have the ability to score and our defense hasn't been great. So I think reasonably middle of the range scoring.
Might be relying a little bit on, as we said earlier, the Knights just not wanting it as much as we do. So, I mean, Jacko might have been part of that attitude shift as well. But, I mean, yeah, Adam, as you said, Adam's still in the field. Should be update from Derek. He's in the Philippines with the Australian team training with the Filipino team. That's awesome. So, yeah, no one mess with Derek. He's a professional boxer. That's awesome. Righto, Roberto. Everyone's got their respective betting apps out. What are you feeling?
Oh, certainly I won't be giving anyone any value this week, that's for sure. Look, guys, as I've said earlier in the show, I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I think based on the starting team we've gone more defensive. The Knights really don't have many points in them unless we make some horrendous errors like, drop bombs and stuff like that. I think the key for us, as I said earlier, is our 2 centres. If Kapoa can do his job on Gagai and not get caught out a couple of times like he did last week, flying up and leaving gaping holes, and if Toa's first contact can be as good as it was last week on a big body like Bradman Best, we'll go a long way to winning it. I'm tipping the boys to win. So if we're looking at a projected multi, I will be going Tigers 1-12. I would be taking the total points 31-40. So, or if you want to be safer than that, just go Tigers to win and unders, because I think the line's about 43.5 or thereabouts. I'm really not. I'm really not keen on picking a try scorer because nothing really super stands out to me. But just looking at, like other than things like bombs and stuff like that, I think our strike forward is going to be Kelmer. So I can see Dane Laurie running off a Kelmer to Alagi, offload and going over for a try. So if I'm going to chuck in a try score, it's going to be Dane Laurie, but I'm not confident on that. But I think Dano's just talking the talk and walking the walk now. So I love what he's come out and said in the media. Love what he's been doing on the field. He's going to be sniffing around the ruck, backing up any breaks we do. So I think Dane's a big chance of scoring a try, and he's bloody overdue as well. So Tigers 31-40 and Dane Laurie to score a try. I don't think it's not going to be 40-something to 1 like it was last week, and I'm not picking a Newcastle Knights play to score. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a really high scoring game.
When you pick an opposition try scorer for your multi, it actually pushes the price up a lot more. But fair enough. I'm feeling maybe New Brown. He loves a little quarterback sneak from dummy half. What's he paying for
He's always about $4 or $5 a try.
Yeah, $4.60. So I'm going to go West Tigers minus the line, which is 5.5. I reckon we can win 6+. New Brown to score. That's 5.75 there. And what was the total points that you said, Roberto? So
I said 31-40, but I mean you can go under 42.5 if you want to get something a bit thinner.
West Tigers overs is 23.5.
No, I'm talking team total. Like
I'm just saying. Do you think we can score 24 points?
I reckon. I highly doubt it. I think that'd be our absolute tops. I feel the game's going to be something like 22-12, 22-14, something like that. I just feel it's going to be in the 30-odd points total bracket. I just don't think we've got as much attack without Jacko there, and based on that, but I think we've just got more intensity the way we're playing at the moment, and the Knights don't seem interested. So unless they come out with a new attitude, I just think we'll go at them for 80 minutes and eventually we'll win.
Alex said he just put how many zeros are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. He put $100 million on Dano to score a try this week.
Oh, if I get it wrong, I'm moving to the Philippines with the boxing.
Let us know in the comments what your prediction is. Gussie got my quarterback sneak reference. Good on you, Gussie.
Gussie will say 44-4 like he does every week.
Yeah, 44-4. It's got to pop up eventually. So
that multi
boys,
of yours, Rob, only 11.50 this week. But I mean,
Put
when we're
20
not
on it,
paying when we're not paying $7 to win, it's going to be harder to get your value there anyway. So
exactly.
Picking the win
Don't
alone
worry.
last week.
We might be paying $7 again next week against the Sharkies. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Righto, that just about does it for the show tonight. We'll review this game Monday night. I'll still be in lockdown. Jesus. Fingers crossed. Apologies for the spicy coughs in the background, you guys. Hopefully by Monday I'm feeling a bit fitter and back into it. But I think we soldiered on, or I soldiered on okay tonight. But boys, you carried the ship for me as always. So is there anything else before we go?
No, just get out to Campbelltown. Get out to Campbelltown.
Absolutely.
And, I'm going to go next door for a feed after the game. If anyone's there and they see my ugly melon, come and say hello. Happy to chat to everyone.
And as you're driving from Orange for the game,
I'm going to be there.
And my seats will be empty. I'm so annoyed. That beer and dinner at the Lazy sounds really good, Roberto. I would have joined you 100%. But
next time.
Yeah. Next
Shoot
time.
me an email, Gussie. I'll try and find you at Campbelltown as well. Say hey.
Good on you, Gussie. Righto, guys. As always, drop in the comments. You know how we finish every show. As always, go the Tigers.
For listening to another episode of the WestsLife podcast. As always, we are sponsored by West Ashfield Leagues Club and as well as MG Pump Solutions. If you could please subscribe if you'd love to hear us again. We're going to have episodes twice a week, every week this season, Mondays and Thursdays. So we're going to, as the season rolls in, be sure to catch us every week. And if you can, give us a like on the socials, so at WestsLife Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Search for WestsLife Podcast on Facebook. And if you'd like to take part in the show, patreon.com/WestsLife. It's just a couple of bucks a month to help grow the show. We'll see you again next time on the WestsLife Podcast.